we should be good. Hey everyone, I'm a software engineer. I've been working professionally in the industry for the last 8 years doing full stack development, and over the last 6 weeks, I've been documenting my game development learning journey using the Godot open source game engine. I've built myself a playground that allows me to test different features, different systems, learn more about game development in general. And so I've been streaming that journey, just showing you guys all kind of my thought process, what it takes to learn how to build games, some of the things that go into it, and just kind of everything that I'm doing for this project is basically, well, it is on stream. So you can go back through all of the history and see like every little step that I've taken, everything I've worked on. There's been a lot. You can see the timer in the bottom right. I've been going almost 40 hours, but it was even more than that. I started doing the timer a couple weeks after I started streaming. So it's probably closer to like 50 hours of work on this so far. But as I always do when I start out the stream, I show you all a demo, and of course I think I probably left it in a bad state, possibly last time. No, we're good. Okay. So we see ourselves in a main menu. You can continue a game, start a new game, load a game. Let me check one thing real quick. All right, we're good. Actually, hold on. Okay. I've built a save system where you can load games, delete games, save the game, obviously, while you're in the middle of it. If we start a new game, we see ourselves in a top-down view of a player here. Things look a little more empty than they did the last time I was streaming. That's because one of the things I'm working on, the basic premise of the game is that it's nighttime, it's dark, you can't really see what's going on around you unless you're close enough to it. And so we see, you can see kind of trees. Those are trees, not cookies, popping up once they get into light range. I've been testing out some features around allowing weapons to have wider cones here for viewing. And there's some things to kind of work on and fix there, but you can see some enemies here. They start to follow you if you're within a certain distance. You have weapons, both melee and ranged weapons. You can kill zombies. There's an inventory system like you saw, a dual inventory system where you can get more items from zombies. I'm working to expand what those items are. But really what I'm trying to focus on right now is the light system right now. So it looks a little barren. And that's because I recently made a change to only show items when they're within a certain, like, if they're in the light cone of the player. So that's something that we're gonna kind of get working again today. Whoa, what is that? I don't even know how I did that. That's fascinating. Trying to get that audio to turn down. There we go. So yeah, you can save the game. If I zoom out, there's a chunking system. So if you move around, different chunks load in and out. So I want to work on the lighting system, get all of the items. I'd come up with a solution in the last stream to like a good solution, I think, to trigger when items should and should not be shown. So need to work on that for the rest of the items, specifically also for like dead zombies and chests and whatnot. But yeah, let's get started coding here. Last stream I got a little distracted with some viewer chatting, which was fun. So this stream I think I really do want to, as much as I can, just focus on code and building out the game while I'm streaming here. So I created this scene, this helper scene for light detection that takes in a parent scene, and then when oh no, sorry, this is the script for the top-down tree, so the trees that we were saying. So it takes in this light detection scene node, creates one, adds it as a child, and initializes it with itself. And what this light detection scene essentially does is, if we go into light detection, it takes in the parent scene on initialization, and then when a light area is entered, it makes the parent scene visible, and when it exits, it makes it not visible. There's one bug around this because the player itself has a light box, and then we have some items, or right now it's just a torch that also has a light box, so there is a bug where the some scenes can be triggered to turn invisible when they shouldn't be, so we need to fix that. But let's go through all the different scenes today and go ahead and add this new light detection node. So what are all the things we're displaying? It's we have got a lot of old scenes here that I should actually probably clean up that I'm not using anymore. So dead zombie is one that we need to do this for. So it's going to be pretty much exactly the way we do this for the top-down tree. So we can copy this in. And again, it'll set it visible or invisible. One thing I actually want to test real quick, though, is instead of passing the parent, so when you pass self into a function, it passes in the entire node. I'm wondering if we can pass in a function. So instead of saying, because what we're doing in light detection is just setting the visibility of the parent scene to true or false, which maybe that's a fine enough solution. That might actually be a fine enough solution for now. So great. Let's boot back in. So the dead zombies should have access now to this. Okay. Invalid set index light detection with value of type area 2D. So clearly something went wrong with the dead zombie here. Oh, light detection value doesn't exist because we didn't make it a global item. I need to figure out the typing on this. Oh, actually, the typing is probably just... we could say class name, light detection. And from here, we should be able to say light detection. So let's go ahead and try this again. The reason that happened in the last, it errored there, was because we loaded in a new chunk. Okay, so we've got some dead zombies loading in that are visible. And I think that's happening because we're not initializing them to false, their visibility to false. Yeah, so that seems to be what's going on. Are we doing that with the top-down tree? We are. So we're calling it false to start. That isn't necessarily what we always want to do, because we'll test this with when a player kills a zombie within its light range. But essentially we could have the case where we set it to false and then it doesn't, I don't know if the light detection is going to trigger when a node is placed into the scene. I'm not sure if that works, so we can just test this really quickly. Okay, so that does seem to work there, actually, which is really nice. And if we zoom out, we should not see these ones up here. And if we make our way back up there, we should then be able to see them up here momentarily. Yes, cool. All right, so that works exactly how we want it. This should also then work for melee weapons, not just ranged weapons. It does. All right, so let's continue on our journey of adding this to more items. So we haven't added it to zombie yet. So the zombie's still being triggered by this mark visible call. And this is happening on the enemy itself. And I think we can actually get rid of this entirely. So for any new viewers here, we have the idea of an NPC. An enemy extends an NPC. So the NPC has some basic information that any non-player character will have. Then we have an enemy. And then from there, the zombie extends enemy. And then there's some other logic built on top of that. So this mark visible function is no longer necessary now that we have the light detection node. Great, so we can get rid of this. We want to say sprite.visible equals false. Let me just make sure we're not doing anything else. Okay. So we want to set the sprite's visibility to false. We're doing all this collision mask layer stuff. We want to turn off the light occluder. So that should all be good. Let's see, are we calling mark visible elsewhere? We are with this call deferred. By default, we can say self.visible equals false. And then we want to do the same thing that we're doing here. I'm wondering actually if we want the dead zombie, because the dead zombie is a child of the regular zombie. We probably honestly don't even want the light detection node on the dead zombie. It can probably just be on the normal zombie, but we can do some testing here just to make sure. So this was called light detection of type light detection equals null. And then we need to preload the light detection scene. Great. There might be some logic in player about mark visible. No, maybe in chunk. Doesn't look like it. And let's also check chunk manager. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. So I don't think anywhere is calling the mark visible anymore. We did get rid of it on both the zombie and enemy. So that should be good. And let's go ahead and test. All right, non-existent call, mark visible on character body 2D. So circular light source. All right, so circular light source is coming from player. We no longer need any of this because everything is being handled by the light collision layer. And the node themselves, the node itself is controlling its visibility, not an external piece of information. So if we go to light occluder, sorry, collision, what was it? Where is it? It's player, circular, player point light. No, wait. Okay, so this enemy light collision should stay because it's the mask and layer that we want. So it's sitting on 3 and looking towards 3. So that's fine. I don't think it actually needs to look towards 3 anymore. That's just Godot lingo for whether it's like where it's like who else can detect a specific layer and then which layer you're detecting. And because it's not detecting anything else anymore, we don't probably need the mask, but that's fine. Let's give this another go. All right, that works as intended. Let's go ahead and okay, so that also seems to work as we, oh, why is that happening? Oh, because we, oh, interesting. Okay, so there is a, there seems to be a node on the player that is triggering this. It might be, no, what is it? It's interesting. Is enemy light collision even necessary anymore? Any of this? So what is it? On enemy, what is this called? Light collision body entered? Light? No, so okay, so we can disconnect those. I'm honestly not even sure this is necessary anymore because the player point light here is what handles the light. But let's see. Where's the collision? How big are we setting this circular light source? We aren't. So is it being hard-coded on the player here? What is this? So this big circle is the enemy light collision. What is player point light? And why is it so small? Okay, point light seen. Okay, we're setting the scale to be larger. I don't think we need the enemy light collision anymore. I really think we can delete this node. And the player point light should be scaled larger. Might need to be bigger than that. But let's turn on debug values real quick so we can see. Let's see. Why can't I? Okay. I don't know why it doesn't have a debug color option here. So maybe we need to go in. No? Okay, so it's this. Okay, so it's like a red color. All right, let's turn on debug. Visible collision shapes. Okay, so it is small. Still, what is this bigger one? There's a bigger, what am I? So there's base weapon scene, which shouldn't be That's not even being used here. Oh wait, was that being used? I was pressing the wrong button. No, it's not. So we've got point. Cool. Got point light scene. Setting the scale. Hey, Philippos, how's it going? So we're just setting the scale here. I'm not exactly sure what that bigger... I'm wondering actually is... No, that should be fine. What is this? So that's the light itself. What is giving off the light from the player? It's this player point light. I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing? Oh, is it Sixth Sense here? No. It's looking to 3. Maybe that's the issue, actually. It might be this. Okay, hold on. Let's make the scale of the point light larger to see if that has anything to do with it. Let's go much larger, let's say 30 by 30. Okay, no, so there's still... Oh, it's the base weapon. Okay, so that's the issue. So we are... I need to remind myself where... Okay, so we've got the self-base weapon scene. Great, so let's go into base weapon. So we're adding... we have this light source. Okay, we have a circular light source on the base weapon. And if light source is enabled, then we enable the circular light source. But we only really want to add it if it's enabled. We don't really care to add it as a child if it's disabled. Great. I think that should work. So now as we go over the dead zombie, yeah, okay. So that works as intended. Awesome. Let's attach ourselves a torch. Things a little bigger. We still have the issue where the player light source is marking the items to be disabled. So we essentially need... The player needs to understand if a weapon has a light source. We don't really want to disable... Let's see. Actually, what we could do is add a counter to... Maybe this might be crazy, but... when an area is entered, we want to increment light source counter, and when it's... when an area exits, we want to decrement it, and when it equals 0, we want it to be false, otherwise we want it to be true. The reason for this being there could theoretically be multiple light sources on that a NPC is in, and we don't want to necessarily make it invisible when one of those light sources leaves, or when it leaves a light source. So let's give this a try. So we'll say self dot light source counter plus equals 1. And then we'll say self.lightSource counter minus equals 1 if self.lightSource counter less than or equal to 0. Let's just set it to 0 so that it can never get below 0, and then that's when we want to set the parent scene to false. Great. So let's try this as well. So if we add our torch here, we should see this disappear. Okay, that actually works. Okay, I think we should be okay. There might be some edge case here, especially around killing a zombie, though maybe not actually. Let's see if we can find any, first of all. I do want to also work to make the areas outside of the light range a little bit darker to give just a little more of a vibe, a little more ambiance, or negative ambiance, I guess. Okay, let's add the torch back on. See if we can break this at all. But it seems to be working okay. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this is working. Cool. Okay, so we've got it on the zombie, the tree. Have we done it to chest yet? I don't think so. We have not, so let's do that real quick. Bilbo says, about the graphics, you'll work on it later or never? It's a good question. Definitely later, for sure. But it all depends on if I turn this into more than just like a playground to learn about game development. If I actually turn it into a full-fledged game, then yes, I definitely need to work on the graphics. But for now, it's usually better when you're doing game dev to work on getting kind of the game, like the functionality and systems working, and then work on the artwork later. Otherwise, if you change direction at all, then you have to redo all your artwork, which is like the worst thing you can do. Okay, so this should be working for chests now. And then I'm the new Todd Howard. No. I mean, he's got decades of experience and has built multi-billion-dollar companies, or a multi-billion-dollar company. Okay, any other items here that we need? I don't think so. I think that's everything so far. Wait, light detection scene not declared on current scope? What do you mean? This should work. Let's see if we can find a chest here. Oh yeah, okay, so no, chest. Ah. It's not working because I need to set self.visible equal to false. I suppose I could do that actually in the initialization here and save myself from needing to do that in every parent. So I think I'll go ahead and do that actually. Zombie. And top-down tree. Cool. And so now that chest over there should be invisible, but let's go test it out. All right, this is starting to come together a little bit more. It'd be nice if instead of it... Oh, I hadn't really thought about this, but everything's kind of popping in and out as it leaves the scene. But I'm wondering if there's a way to... Okay, this might change everything. I don't know where that chest was, so... Maybe that's because the chest isn't working, actually. Okay, I'll need to do some testing to see if chests are showing up or not. Could also be behind a tree. It might have been visible, but the tree wasn't, so that's possibly why we can't see it. So I guess instead of having everything turn visible and invisible, you could do like a fog of war type of thing, and that would mean that it doesn't just like disappear at a certain point. Oh, there's a chest. Okay. So now it does seem to be working. Okay, let's not work on that now. That's something that we can do later, but something to keep in mind for the future. All right, so let's work on making the background a little darker outside of where the player is visibly able to see. I think the way we're handling that right now is in chunk testing. So this is the main scene. We're modulating the canvas to this night color. What if I were to just make everything like very dark? Oh, okay. That like honestly does. I mean, it's too extreme now, but that does what I'm looking to do. And the loading in and out, you know, while not ideal, doesn't look horrible. We do want to figure out the lighting smoothness here, because I don't know if you can see it on the stream. I think you can. There are a bunch of squares that radiate from the player and from any light source. And that's not intended. And I think it might have to do with setting the scale of the light source rather than the scale of the... Yeah, let's go into circular light source real quick. Specifically, okay, light sources, circular light source. So we're setting the scale of the entire node rather than the scale of the collision polygon 2D. That might be why. Hey, Parshva. What sort of game am I trying to make? Do I have an idea for the name? So over the last like 6 weeks, I've built myself like a game development playground. I'm learning game dev using the Godot open source game engine, and I'm really right now just building out different systems and features, things that I might want to implement in a game in the future. Basic premise is that it's nighttime, it's dark. You can only see where light is radiating out from either the player or items. Right now, relatively simple. There's zombies. They have some loot. There are chests that you can pick up. But outside of that, I need to build more of like what the game's going to look like. Whether or not I'm going to turn it into a full-fledged game is kind of to be determined. Because I've been treating it so far as just a way to like learn more about game development, and so we'll see if I want to do more with that. I mean, more with this specifically, or start something new and actually, build a game that way. But I think there's still a lot more features that I can add that would make this interesting and fun to work on. But yeah, as for a name, no, I don't have a name for this yet. Okay, let's try setting, instead of the scale on the circular light source, let's add a function here that adjusts the scale of the collision polygon itself. So let's rename this to light collision shape. Say light collision shape scene. Light collision shape. And then we'll add a function here called set collision shape scale. It'll take in a vector 2. Having trouble typing today, apparently. And then we'll say light collision shape scene dot is set scale a function here? Hold on. I think it is set scale that we want. Set scale to S, and then in the player we will say point light scene dot set light collision scale, I think is what I called it. Set light collision scale. Where'd it go? Set collision shape scale. Collision shape scale. Okay, let's see if that makes the... Okay, so that didn't actually... So we adjusted... What did we adjust here? Clearly didn't adjust the light source itself. Oh, that's because the light source is the point light. Good to see that you'll finally start your embedded programming after 2 years. You intend to do the same, just learn from it, but you might build a micromaster from what you learn. Thanks. Good luck to you as well. I really like working with hardware, but I don't know enough about embedded programming to like do it. My dad's an electrical engineer, so he's built a lot of like, different products and stuff throughout the companies he's worked at, but I've mostly done software throughout my career. Okay, so I'm wondering if we need to then add a parent node to the scene. So rather than the point light scene being, or the point light being the parent, we might, oh no, but that's, Oh, it's not the collision shape. What am I doing? It's not the collision shape that's the issue here. It is the actual light itself is not scaling properly. So for any people who just hopped on, what I'm trying to fix is as I scale up the size of the point light, you can start to see rectangles, or squares more specifically, radiating out from the player. And I'd like that to be smooth lighting. And I don't exactly know how to do that. Hey, Copy. I'm doing well. How are you? Thanks for hopping on again. Okay. There's got to be a way. Go for smooth point light. Smoothing properties of the light. It's a texture property. Oh, I think the issue, the issue is because oh, maybe it's the texture that I need to adjust. Hold on. Oh, and it probably has to do with the width and height of these pixels, actually. So if we were to just crank up how many pixels are here, maybe we'll see. Hopefully that doesn't make it way bigger. But we'll find. Oh, yep, it does make it way bigger. Okay, so let's hold up. Where's the center? Okay. All right, so we don't want to set the scale that large, so we'll need to adjust that on the player now, but I think that should solve what we're looking for here. So if we just set it to 1, which it should by default be at, I think it's still going to be a little too big, but yeah, okay, way smoother. Way smoother now. And now the torch is way too big as well. Let's fix that. I think we want it to be like 2 times the size. Yeah, that's pretty good. That actually looks really nice. Whoops. Okay, so we're not setting the... Okay, so now we actually do need to set the... Because the base circular light source is much larger now. So is there a way to make it smaller? Like have more pixels, like higher pixel density, but... Okay, hold on. Today's your chemistry exam. Wish you luck. Good luck. Good luck, Copy. Chemistry was my least favorite science. I loved physics. Physics was like, it came to me. I understood it, and I took a few physics classes throughout my high school career. But chemistry, I did not do. I mean, I did fine in it, but it was not my forte. Okay, so we do still actually need a way to adjust the collision shape scale, though really is there a way to, why am I not able to see the size? Oh, is that the size? Oh, that is the size. Okay, so actually I should just be able to adjust this manually here to be the same radius as the size of the... Okay, so now these should scale theoretically at the same rate. Let's go ahead and try this again. Okay, yeah. So that works. And yeah, there's no fade like I was talking about, like a Fog of War would have, but I think it popping in and out is also just fine. I don't really want to go back and redo a whole other solution, so this is good enough for now. Cool. Great, this is like really starting to come together. So wow, there's no... I didn't know zombies could drop nothing. Hold on, that might be a bug. Let's go find another. Really? No other zombies? How are there none? Okay, there is one, finally. What? Since when do zombies not drop items? Hold up. Okay, hold on a sec. Okay, start a new game. Find a zombie. That one has stuff. That one also has ammo. Okay, so let's save, exit, continue. So that one has nothing, as expected. I'm wondering if it has to do with... No. Okay, let's find another one. Here's another one. No, that has ammo, so... Okay, why don't I actually try killing this zombie here? And then... Okay, it's got 2 ammo, but let's exit. Start up again. So this one should have nothing. And then this one here should have 2. Yeah, okay, that works. So I don't know what that weird bug was. Exactly, you're not doing well in chemistry. You don't know what's gonna happen. Good luck with it. I'm sure you'll do great. I'm sure you'll be fine. Just, I was gonna try to come up with something clever. Just remember blank, but I honestly don't remember anything from chemistry, so. I am no help whatsoever. Alrighty, so we've got the lighting system working actually really well. So let's let's commit all of this. There's a lot of different changes actually. I'm just gonna make it into one commit because I'm lazy. Added base weapon for showing weapons on player. Added light source to weapons. Updated lighting system. So nodes control their own visibility. What else? I think that's everything. Cool. He has a chemistry exam. I think it was a figure of speech. He's not actually pooping in chemistry. All right, so we redid the lighting system, added light sources to weapons. We could add damage over time to torches now, but I think I'll create a new item, a baseball bat that the player starts with, and then I'll, much like I do for rifles and swords, I'll add torches as a pick-upable item from chests, or like a randomized item in chests. I'll add, let's see, I could do flashlight. Is it like Project Zomboid? I mean, I've played like 10 minutes of Project Zomboid, so possibly, but it's, you know, obviously a much simpler, like there isn't that much to do right now, so I don't know if it's only going to be zombies or if I'm going to add other things. But we'll see. We'll see. So as of right now, sort of maybe, but that's not really what I'm intending to do. Overall, I'm just learning more about game development and building out different features and systems that I think are interesting and might want to add into a game in the future. Okay, so let's create a new weapon called a baseball bat. And I'm realizing now every time we add a new weapon, we do need to actually add the assets for, or the asset for that weapon, because we have, I guess I can just reuse stuff for now. It doesn't really matter, and come back to that later. Okay, let's create a new scene. Call it a baseball bat, although it's not a scene. It's just a script. And it's going to be almost identical to a sword. So we will, oops. We'll just go ahead and copy everything from sword. Go into baseball bat. We'll say the damage is 2. Weapon range is 150. Sound range, weapon delay is half a second. And we could even have a little bit more knockback than some of the other melee weapons we have. It's going to be the same shoot animations, which is what we use across all of our weapons. We've got baseball bat. The asset can be the base sword, which is fine. Now we need to go to items list and say baseball bat, which I don't think no, we did. All right. And we can give our player one. And add it as, oops, stackable item here. And then add it to the player's inventory just for debug purposes for now. Baseball bat. Now we should see, not in a old save, but in a new save, we should see a baseball bat in the player's inventory. Cool. It just looks like a sword for now. That works. Let's kill an enemy with it. Oh yeah, that's good knockback for a baseball bat, I'd say. some rifle ammo. All right, so now I think the next thing to do might be to add. So right now, yeah, let's save the game. Right now, if a zombie runs into the player, the game ends and you can load from the last save. I'm wondering if there should be, wait, what is happening up here? Why is this chunk not loading? Oh, did I break chunk? The chunk system? I've never seen that before. Hold on. Did I break the chunk system? What did I do? Whoa, how did I make that happen? Hold on. Someone just said something. Oops. Hey, Junpei. How you doing? I'm just working on learning more about game development and doing so in like a little game dev playground where I can test different features and whatnot. I just saw a weird bug with the chunk system that I've never seen before, so I'm not, and it's not happening now. What did I do that made that happen? Swinging my baseball bat. That's all I feel like I was doing. Whoops. Huh. Okay, maybe I can reproduce it by... Maybe the chunk loading in logic is wrong. So let's go up one chunk. Let's hit save, exit. Continue. Am I Scottish? No, I'm not. What sounds familiar? My accent? My accent's very just American. If you're talking about my name, then no. That's Klingel is part of my last name. And Klingelhofer is my last name, which is the name of the channel URL. But no, that's German. And my German side of the family came to the US, I think in like the 1850s. So coming up on 200 years ago. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Just adjusted the location of that. What'd I do? Hey, Sleepy, how's it going? Okay, I don't know how I was able to get that bug to happen with the chunking system. It was in, which save file is it in? I think it's this one. Let's load that. Hold on. Let's try this one again. No, now it's working. Yeah, I don't know why that happened, but I literally haven't touched anything with the chunk system in weeks, if not months. Sleepy says, how long have you been programming for? A little over a decade now. I've been only doing game development stuff, like, you know, you can see the 40-hour timer on the stream here. So over the last like 6 weeks, I've been streaming every other day mostly. And so I've spent, you know, 40-50 hours now on this little game playground where I'm testing out different features, learning more about Godot and game development in general. But I've been working professionally as a full stack engineer for the last little over 8 years, and then went to school for computer science before that. So like, you know, 10, 11 years of programming, but really like 8.5 years of actual like work, you know, getting paid to write code. Oop. Oh, okay, no, that's fine. All right, so let's add, what do we want to do next? Did less planning before this. Stream than I normally do for things that I'm going to work on. Have I worked in the industry? Yeah. I've been working for the last 8 years in the industry. Oh, no, not in the game industry, no. I've been working in the just like general big tech industry. Worked for a wide range of companies, from ones with 3 people all the way up to ones with 25,000 people. So I worked at startups, at public companies, mid-sized companies, and everything in between. And I mostly use TypeScript, Node, AWS, React on the front end. I've done a little Go professionally, but it's been like half a decade since I've done that. Not my grandparents. I mean, it depends on when you, at what point do you become the nationality that you're in? Like, if my ancestors came to America, to the United States in like 1850, at what point am I just kind of like from America, or at what point are my ancestors like not that German anymore? I'm like, I've done the DNA thing. I'm like German, French, Italian. Do I use X? Twitter. Yeah, I have a Twitter. I can, it's in the, it's on my channel, but I can go ahead and send you guys the link in the chat. If I pull it up here, this is me. Let me add it to chat for you guys. I also, on the last stream, started a Discord server. So if you guys are interested in joining that as well, I will also post the chat there. I haven't posted anything with it or done anything with it, so feel free to join if you want, but absolutely no pressure. I don't know what I'm going to do with the Discord server. It's, if people want to talk about like game development and stuff or whatever, like that could be an option, but I've spent, 2 seconds thinking about it. So, not really sure what I'll do there. Oh, I know what I want to work on next. I want to add some ambient lighting. So different light sources that can randomly spawn in chunks. In this case, I think I'll just do kind of like lamppost things, but in my previous stream, I was talking a little bit about having like a moonlight effect that basically, as you move around, there's like a weather-ish system. I don't know exactly how I would do that, so there's more thought I need to do that. More thought I need to put into it before I just start coding it on stream, but that's something that I'll probably work on soon. Hey Bardia, how's it going? Good to see you again. Have I graduated? Yeah, I graduated. I got my degree in 2016, so I've been out of school for coming up on a decade now. Let me add a note to myself for adding the like moonlight lighting system feature. And then also I want to add now the just like lampposts. Could also add player experience. That might be, and have some like unlock system that allows you to get bigger inventory sizes. From where? Really asking a lot of personal questions, aren't you? No, I from NYU, New York University. Okay, let's add some lampposts. I think I've honestly already started this a while ago. I have a scene here called Lamppost, and I think it's just got a point light 2D. But I think we can get rid of this and instead add a light, circular light source as a child. So I think that should work. I don't think I have to do anything outside of that. So if we just come into chunk testing, we'll just hard code one of these into the scene, a lamppost here, and then see if it shows up in the game. Actually, let's start a new game. So I think I've moved away from spawn. Yes, okay, so we see a lamppost here. We'll want to add a sprite asset, but the lighting system does seem to work for it. If we can get this zombie to come trigger over here, we see that it still shows up in the lamppost, which is pretty cool. So we'll add these as randomized items to chunks that can just appear every so often. Oh, that doesn't look great. Oh, wow, there's double shadows from 2 light sources. That's cool. And then we can see it, that weird shadow there. It should really, I'm surprised it does that, but I guess it blocks the whole lamppost. Oh, I can probably make it a, that's what I should do. I should make it a character body 2D, or just like a physics body 2D or whatever that has actual dimensions and space, such that they can't, enemies or players can't walk through it. I guess I could do the same for the trees as well. So I'll add that as a note to myself real quick to do. Add like character body, so player and enemies can't walk through it. Lampposts, and then what was I gonna do? Am I currently employed? I'm in between jobs right now, but I start a new one in a couple weeks. I took some time off, and that's, I've been streaming kind of during the days recently, but yeah, I start a full-time position in just a couple weeks. Okay, notes. Okay, so the lampposts, and then what is the other thing I literally just said? Oh, trees as well. Add character body to trees. Great. All right, so let's come into the lamppost here. Let's adjust this to be a character body 2D. And that's apparently gonna crash Godot for some reason. Wow. Strange. That was a weird bug. All right, so you didn't get changed to a character body 2D. Is that gonna crash Godot again? Wow. We found a bug. I don't think we're gonna see anything here that is helpful to us, but maybe we can't make that a character body 2D for some reason. I don't know why that wouldn't work. Okay, I'll try this one more time, and if it doesn't work, then we will create a new node for this. All right, it's crashing the game. I mean, crashing that entire editor. Okay, let's then delete this lamppost scene because it seems it's either broken or this. Okay, world is, whoops. Okay, the world scene here, which we no longer use. Has a bunch of lampposts, or has a lamppost. Okay, so let's just delete this. That's fine. So now we should be able to delete lampposts, no problem. Or not, actually. I don't know. Let's create a new light source. Actually, it can just be... Let's create a new folder called light emitters. And so here we'll have a new scene called lamp post. We'll make it a character body 2D if it isn't going to completely crash the game, which it didn't, thankfully. It needs a collision shape, so let's go ahead and attach one real quick. Collision shape 2D. It can just be a circle. Very simple. And then let's also add the light source, circular light source as a child. Let's maybe make this collision shape just a bit bigger. And now we should be able to add this. It's a lot of personal questions there. Yes, I am. Jinpei, I'm gonna ask the same questions that you have asked me of you as well. Have you graduated? If yes, from where? And are you employed? And are you married? Okay, so we got the lamppost. Let's add this to, wait, is this not a character body? What is this scene? Hold up. Okay, that was the old lamppost. All right, great. We'll need to add a sprite to this as well so that we can see it, but that's fine for now. So let's add this to chunk testing like we did with the other light source. Give this a go with a new game. Oh man, Godot is having some issues right now. Okay, so that does seem to show up properly. And we should not be able to go in the middle of the light source here, which we can't. We get stuck on here. Also realizing, I guess the player doesn't really need shadows because they have a light source emitting from themselves, so let's not worry about that. Okay, and this should also collide. It does. Okay, so let's add a sprite asset to the lamppost here. We can also delete, yeah, we can delete it from, no, let's leave it there for the moment, actually. Okay, so let's add a child node of type sprite 2D. We need to add a texture, so let's go find one on itch.io. Specifically a lamp post. We might need to actually make one ourselves because we everything is like top down. It's not like the side down that we have that other, like this type of style. We're really looking for a total top down. Okay, so let's pull up Steam and Sprite. Uh, 64 by 64 is fine. We're just gonna do a very simple I guess let's make this a little bit lighter. Let's do a circle. However, how do I do that? We're gonna fill it. And then we'll add a lighter layer on top. How do I do that actually? Hold on. Wait, I'm surprised that didn't work. Hold on. Nah, Junpei, you're totally good. I'm just messing with you. If I don't want to answer questions, I totally don't need to answer them. So you can ask whatever questions you want, and it is up to me to say, no, I'm not going to answer that if I don't want to answer it. So really, truly, don't feel badly here at all. Okay, so we've got like a little lamppost thing going. Let's maybe add an outline. Whoops, I thought I did just a normal circle. So if we do like a little outline, and then that's probably good enough, but we could also do like add a little bulb in the middle. Let's see if that looks good at all. Maybe fade it a little bit. Don't actually really know how this is supposed to look. I don't know. That might be fine. Let's do lamppost. I don't think do we want to save the Sprite? I guess we can save the Sprite asset there. Hopefully Git isn't weird about that. But we can cross that bridge when we get there as well. All right, lamppost.png. Oh, we already have a lamppost. Okay, so let's call this like new lamppost, I guess. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Let's export it. Let's go back here. What does the normal lamppost asset look like? Oh, it's just a texture like that. Okay, that's fine. I actually think I want to make the outline here a little less aggressive, but for now, this is fine. That can just be in the middle. Actually, probably not even going to be able to really see it anyway. You're an art student. Am I interested in arts? So yes, I am. I'm not very good at like drawing art, but I wasn't always a computer scientist, software engineer. I first went to NYU actually for musical theater, and did that for technically the first year, but really the first 6 months, and then I switched over to computer science. So I play instruments, I sing, I've written music in the past, did musical theater in high school. So I've been in the arts a lot, but in terms of like graphic design and that kind of work, it hasn't really ever clicked with me, but I also haven't ever spent that much time doing it. Okay, so if we start a new game here, that looks really bad. Maybe even just making it a little bit smaller should be okay. I think also in general, I want it to be a little more faded, but is there a way to add just like a basic, like, can I select everything and adjust the, no, that doesn't seem to work. Oh, maybe I can, hold on. No, wait. I don't know what any of these buttons do. Okay, well, it's fine. It doesn't need to look beautiful. Let's just make it a little smaller. Which means we also want to make the collision shape a little bit smaller. And then let's make sure this is, and oops. Okay, position should be 0, 0. That looks fine enough, I guess. It's not a big deal, but at least it's, apparent that there is something there. So that's cool. So let's add this to our chunks. So we can go back into chunk testing, get rid of this one. And then we can go to chunk. So in the same way that we're saving the tree positions, we also want to do the same thing with lamp positions. So we have foliage. Thanks, Junpei. You subscribed. You don't know, but you find me cool. Do I like it? Do I like what? Coding, software engineering, streaming. I enjoy all of them, all of the above. I wouldn't be streaming if I didn't like it, and certainly not streaming for 40 or 50 hours over the last like month and a half if it wasn't fun. Back when I was in high school, I started a YouTube channel. This was, early 2010s. Actually, this same exact channel, if you go to my videos on this channel, you'll see like some old, Xbox news and video game content and whatnot. And so I've always enjoyed like making videos and content and everything. But I have found that I think I enjoy streaming more than making videos. Being able to do something and do it live and like for other people, and for myself too, obviously, in service of learning new things. I just think streaming is like a good medium for me because it means I can spend the like, hour and a half, 2 hours that I'll stream for every day or two or whenever I find the time. And then that's that. I don't need to like, spend too much time outside of that making videos and doing things. The like live content I think is really cool. And it took me a long time to be like okay with showing my face and like putting myself out there and everything, but I've found it to be very fun. Okay, so in the same way that we have max number of foliage, we want to do the same with max number of lights and min number of lights. And we'll say at most you can have 2 lights per chunk, and actually minimum we'll do 0. And we can adjust this obviously. Okay, so we have the tree. So we can say load foliage, load chests, and really these should all be their own separate functions. So we'll need to adjust that at some point, but we can do the same create and load foliage functions here, except it's going to be obviously for the lampposts. So we'll say lamp post scene is preload. Okay, I think hold on. I think VS Code disconnected from Godot, so let me just reopen this. Go back to chunk. There we go. So we have the light emitters lamppost. So if we come back down to create foliage, yeah, we can do it on these ones. Say create lights and load lights. So we basically want the lights to appear in the same position that they were in when we save and load the game. So max number of lights and min number of lights. For I in range number of lights, we will do lamppost scene dot instantiate. We'll set the position, and we may have to contend with. Okay, so we start to get into the issue of different items in our chunk loading on top of each other. So in this case, there's like a high probability that a light loads in the same location that a like piece of foliage does. So we don't really want that, but let's deal with that in a little bit rather than right this moment. But marking it as something that we want to come back to and adjust. Oh no, the lamppost size should be static. We don't need to set the self.lights equals lamppost. And then, okay, we have foliage node on a chunk, so let's go into chunks real quick. We've got foliage chest. Let's add a new just node 2D. And it probably doesn't even need to be node 2D. Could just be a node itself, but let's call this lights. And we will grab it as an onReady var. And then we will say lights node dot add child. And we are adding the lamp post. And then, so that'll create the lights, and now we need to load in the lights. But first, let's save the lights. So there's no information outside of a lamp itself, or a light right now has no inherent information. It's static, which means that we can just basically do what we're doing for foliage, which is saving the position. Don't even need to save the size. So we can come in here and do lights vector array. Mr. Hopper. Thanks, Junpei. You do not need to look at my old like videos from 12 years ago. If you want to watch other live streams that I've done over the last like month and a half, feel free to do so. But my old content is, you know, look at it if you want, but you're not gonna see anything particularly interesting there. I think I can actually do values here. Say tree. So I can do the same thing here for lamp, or actually we could just do for light. In self.lights.values. If light does not equal null, we can do lights vector array dot push back. Light position, we can say light dot position. Why are you yelling? Oh, weird. Okay, tree.scale. Light dot position. And then when we come in here and set the foliage, we also should set the lights. And save it with the lights vector array. How are we saving chests again? Are we saving chests? We are. Oh, because there can only be one, I guess. So say, yeah. Okay, and that loads differently because the chest has inherent or like explicit information about it. Okay, so now let's come back up to load lights. So rather than all of this foliage nonsense, we can say lights metadata. Oops. And grab the lights values here. If lights metadata does not equal null or equals null, return false. Lights metadata, foliage metadata should be, what type of object is this again? Is this going to be, I think it's going to be the array. Okay, so if for lights metadata, or for light metadata and lights metadata, light metadata does not equal null. Then we want to say light metadata must not be null. We want to get the light position. And if it doesn't exist, then we can say light metadata dot light position should not be null. And then we don't need the size. So let's grab, in this case, lamppost. And at some point, we might have other types of lights. So we will need to account for that. But we're not gonna worry about that too much right now. We can say lamppost.position, light metadata, and then grab light position. Don't worry about the scale. We can say self.lights. Count equals lamppost. Count plus equals 1. We will use the lights node and add child lamppost. Great. So now we have load lights, which isn't being called anywhere. So as we're loading in the game, if we're starting a new game, basically we want to say self.create lights. Otherwise, we want to do the same thing as foliage here. So let's load in the lights from the config file. So self.load lights. Get loaded lights returns Boolean. So it returns true if something was loaded in. Otherwise, we want to create lights. So this will help us in the case where we basically don't break backwards compatibility. We can say in an older save, if lights haven't been loaded in or don't exist in that save, we can create them. Great, so this should theoretically work. Cool, so we have lights in our chunks. Some chunks have 2 lights, some chunks have 1 light, and some chunks have no lights, as is evidenced here. So that starts to add a little more just ambiance to the game. And as we move around, I'm zoomed out here so we can see all the different chunks as they load in and out. So as we move around, we can start to see these lights appear in different chunks. We can hit save and exit. And if we continue this game and zoom out, we should see the lights in the same position. So that's working as intended. And honestly, okay. So another issue here is we need to make the index, the Z index of the lampposts. I thought I deleted this. I think we need to add Z index to these, much like we're doing with the foliage and the chests. Jiro says, "Oh man, you just finished a programming session in Godot where you spent 2 hours trying to solve a problem. At the end, it turned out that you just had to add already to one of the variables." Yeah, that's like, I find that to be 90% of the bugs. It's just like one line, one small thing, one tiny issue. I've had plenty of those. So I know how you feel. I had one a couple streaming sessions ago, and it was not fun, to say the least. Okay, let's look at top-down tree here. I'm setting the Z index, I think. No, I'm not. What am I doing the Z index of the of this? Oh, I am. Okay, I'm setting the Z index of here. So let's set it to 1, and then we should see them appear now. Okay, we've got our little lampposts appearing. That looks not too bad. And again, we'll see some overlapping of lampposts and trees, but it's, we're like starting to see actual, wow, there's no lights in any of these chunks here. I think that was just random. Yeah, we're starting to like see this come together and kind of start to look like more than just a playground here. It's like, actually becoming something. So we'll start to need to add different, other game mechanics, more items, things to do. I think what I'm kind of thinking overall is the further away you go from spawn, the stronger enemies get. And I can probably change like the color of enemies to start to be like, to show how strong they are. Maybe add like a health bar on enemies, although I don't really want to do that, but maybe add a health bar on enemies to just show how much health they have left. Obviously add more weapons and stuff like that. And then items, and probably need to do something with like armor, or adding ways to like maybe move a little bit faster. Maybe I could add a dodge. There's all kinds of little things I could do. But this is really starting to come together. Cool. So let's go ahead and just commit these changes. Added lamp post and light emitters to chunks. Cool. Well, let's quickly add character bodies to trees so that you also can't walk through them. So, okay, we need to, is there a way to add a parent node? Doesn't seem like it. So I think I need to copy, paste. Can't copy the root. Let's see. That's okay, maybe I can save no, can't do that. Let me see. Turn add parent node to scene. Might not be able to do this. Reparent to new node? Is that a thing? I'm not seeing that here. Oh, maybe I have to add a child. So if I added like a character body to... Where is that being? Oh, whoops. Let's see, delete node. If I were to, okay, reparent to new node. Nope. No, you can't do that as the parent. But can I move this as a child? No, you can't do that. Can't reparent. That's annoying. Oh, make scene root. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. That works. Do I even have anything? Okay, so I just want to move. Is there a way to, let's see, detach script and then attach script. And then we need this to extend character body 2D, not sprite. This can be on the parent still, so that is fine. And then let's add a collision shape. In this case, we'll do a circle, which will just act essentially as the trunk. New circle shape. So that can act as the trunk. And I think that should be all we have to do. Whoa, those became very large. I don't really know why. But probably something to do with the scale. Because we don't want to set the scale of the entire character body 2D. We want to set the scale of the tree sprite. Let's actually do a couple things. Let's rename this to top-down tree. Let's rename this to sprite. And then we want a function on here that will just set the scale of the sprite itself. So say sprite scene sprite. Set sprite scale, pass in a vector 2. We'll say sprite scene dot set scale, it's v. And then in chunk, as we're setting the scale, so both loading in as well as creating, we don't want to say tree.scale. We actually want to say tree.set sprite scale. And pass in tree metadata. Oops. And then we also need to do the same when we're creating the foliage. All right, let's give this a go. Non-existent function set scale in base nil. Okay, so it hasn't been added to the tree yet, so so we're calling this before sprite scene exists, which means that we either need to call this after it's added as a child or set the sprite scale as a vector 2 here. We can just default it to vector 2. So then instead of setting the scale, we can say self.sprite scale equals v. And then in the ready function, we can set the scale of the sprite. Oh wait, that wasn't the issue. Self.sprite scale. Great. Whoops. And we have this issue again where we just overwrote what we had done. Thank you, Godot. Please fix that. All right, so we've got different sized trees here, but they seem to be loading in properly, I believe. No, now they're... Wait, are they getting smaller? Hold on. No, okay, so we're setting tree.set. Okay, so there must be a tree.scale that we're doing here somewhere. No. Oh, it's not tree.scale. We want to actually get the sprite scale. Oh, and we can just do a normal getter and setter here. So let's do that instead. So let's get rid of this. So that function set sprite scale is no longer going to exist. We just want to say sprite scale equals vector 2. Same thing here. And then instead of setting tree.scale, we want to say tree.sprite scale. All right. So I think that save file is going to have an issue. So let's start a new one. So those look correctly sized. Let's just equip our torch here to see a little bit more. Let's hit save, exit. If we boot back in, this should work. Yeah, that looks correct. We could add shadows to the trees, but I don't really think it's necessary. Cool. All right, this should be good. All right, we made some good progress today. Updated the lighting, I mean, if you go back to the beginning of the stream, you can see a big difference between kind of what the game looks like. It looked like before and what it looks like now. There's some new, you know, all of the dark area is completely new. Before it was much lighter, so it's really starting to come together. It feels like. But I am gonna end it here. Almost at 2 hours. I appreciate everyone that's hopped on. It was a good session. Had a good time. Again, made some good progress, and yeah, I should be on again either tomorrow or Thursday. I've been kind of enjoying the like every other day cadence. But yeah, thanks for coming. Jiro says you work as a front-end dev, right? You design websites, but you want to switch to front-end dev. Any advice? No idea where to start. You know, HTML, CSS, can learn JavaScript. Would that be enough? So technically, yes, all you need to know is HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Most front-end dev work nowadays is done using a framework. There aren't too many, at least that I've seen, too many jobs out there, or really products that are built nowadays just using vanilla HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I would suggest, you know, getting better at JavaScript, but then also learning React. It's a front-end framework for building websites. A lot of companies use it nowadays. Every company that I've worked at has used React. There are some other frameworks that, you know, some companies use, but if you know React, it's pretty easy to learn other ones. So I'd say on top of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, also, you know, start to get proficient at React, and you can do that. I think they have a tutorial on their website. That's legacy React.js. What is React.dev? Weird. So yeah. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Meant to make it bigger. So yeah, React.dev. You can learn React. It has docs. You can follow along, download, write code here, change things. Welcome to my game instead of welcome to my app. And just kind of follow along here, and you should be able to pick it up. It's not too complicated. It's really just a structure for things, and if you understand HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you should be able to pick up React relatively quickly. But yeah, I'd say that's the one thing to learn on top of just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. There's also no React. You're welcome, Jiro. You have a good one too. All right, thanks for hopping on, man. Thanks for hopping on, everyone. I have a Twitter. I don't post on it that much. It's in my YouTube channel. I have a Discord server. It's also on my YouTube channel on the homepage, I think. So go join those if you guys want. I might start doing some stuff on Discord, but we'll see. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow on Twitch. You're cooked? Why are you cooked, Copy? Oh, wait, you took the chemistry test? How'd it go? I was about to hop off, but now that you hop back on, I want to know how the chemistry test went. Oh, I remember those days of tests in school. I don't miss them at all. The suspense is killing me. Oh wait, the test starts in 6 hours and you haven't slept yet? Oh, you're saying that. Wait, did you pull an all-nighter? You should try to get sleep if you can. At least a little bit of sleep. You don't want to stay up that whole time. honestly, sleep is like, I find sleep to be sometimes more important than like cramming. But that was my personal philosophy. But that was also because I didn't really like studying that much. So take it or leave it, the advice. Yeah, I think the React page here is for anyone that's looking for React, just react.dev doing the tutorial. Oh my god, excuse me. Should be good enough. Yeah, I'm ending the stream now. But yeah, come back next stream, copy, and let me know how the chemistry test goes. All right, good luck. And thanks for hopping on, everyone. I'll catch you guys later.